So let's take a look at one of the tools that come with the PDSA.NET Productivity Framework, and that's the application builder. This application allows you to get an application started quickly and easily from an existing template. So what we would do is we would create a web app here, for example, or we could create a Windows app, or we could create a Windows service. So you have many options here, but let's go ahead and just do a web app at this point. Now you can do VB.NET, you can do C#, it really doesn't matter what language you use. You have an option of using stored procedures for everything or not. You can choose the connection string that you wish to use here. Okay, so I could actually come in here and let's say I'm going to use localhost in this case. And I'm going to use a database that I've already got set up called Sandbox. And I've got the so secure user ID SA and password is p@ssw0rd. That's a good strong password, right? Now you can always test this out, make sure you've got the connection string correct. If you want, you can put our tables, because we have a lot of tables that we use for a lot of our data-driven menus and security and things. You can put those in a separate database. You have an option of encrypting information in your configuration file, but we'll save that for later. As far as security, you have many models that you can set up. You can do a forms-based authentication model, and if you choose that, you can choose, passwords. Are they required or not? Do you want to enforce strong passwords? What's the default password that you want? The minimum length and the maximum length on passwords, the minimum length and the maximum length on the login, whether you want to hash passwords or not. Do you want to encrypt passwords? What's the first user ID you want to have go in, because we're using forms-based here. Or you can choose Windows authentication. That's another option that we have here, and either use Windows groups or use our PDSA security. Or maybe you're just building a regular website and you want no authentication at all. So totally up to you on what you want to choose here. Now once you've chosen a lot of these various options, you can come back here and hit Create. And what this does is it copies a template application that we've already got over into this new folder that we've specified, and it renames everything as appropriate. I mean, you can think of the application builder kind of as a fancy search and replace engine, and it makes sure everything is hooked up correctly. And then once it comes up, this is a Visual Studio application, so you're now just working in Visual Studio. And when it comes up here, as you can see, we've got several various projects inside of our solution. So obviously you have the website itself, okay, and it has all the typical stuff you'd expect. It has themes with some good CSS files in here, our form creator stuff. It has some images, it has lookups, it has our main folder, maintenance pages already done for doing menus and password changes and all of that stuff that you'd expect. We have a couple of master pages for you. We have some templates, some unsecured folders that gives us things like login screen, things where we use that user does not need to be logged in to see these pages. Lots of XML files for you to use, or you can just get rid of them. Now besides the website project itself, we also have a little utility project where we do have a lot of various components already set up for you, and these will be explained in later videos. We have a test layer where you can put in your tests. So this is for you to add your unit tests, because Visual Studio 2008 obviously has all the new unit testing stuff built in, so we gave you a holder for that. Okay. We have all of our dependency DLLs. These are the DLLs that are referenced from all these other projects. We wanted to make sure they were in a common place. We have a data layer. This is where you will insert those generated classes from the PDSA.NET DACGen, and I'm going to give you a simple sample of that in a later video as well. We have a business layer where the business objects go into. Okay, now I chose VB for my project here, but this would have been in C# if had I chosen C#. We also have a configuration layer. This is for you to set up where you want to get your configuration settings from. And we'll talk about that in a later video as well. Alright, but basically this is a full working application ready to go. I just simply run the application. It compiles, it it starts up, it brings up the ASP.NET Development Server, so there's no need for IIS, right? Taking advantage of the things that are built into Visual Studio. So it's going to come up now, since I had chosen forms-based authentication, it's going to come up with a login screen here. And I just have to remember what I put in the application builder for the user ID and password for the first user, since I did choose forms authentication, and we sign in. Now, this whole look and feel here is all done with style sheets and master pages. So that gives you a very easy way to change all of this, right? We've got basically a nice little menu system here, as you can see, two-tiered kind of, like we got the first one. When you click on this, you get a bottom tier here of things. We have lookups, we have profile, changing passwords or changing your profile information. Lookups show you any exceptions that occurred or any user tracking, so I'm tracking users as we move through the system here. We can see user login, so you can see that I've logged in one time from this machine and this browser using this language on the browser, and this is the login date. We have event logging and audit tracking as well. If we turn those on, you can actually track things that go on. Okay, so pretty simple, type of thing here. If we take a look at the menu items, as you can see, we got home, maintenance, lookup, my profile, and sign out. Here is the menus right here: home, maintenance, lookup, my profile, and sign out. Okay, now what we did is we numbered them in a certain sequence: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And what that means is that that's the order in which they occur. So what I could do is I could now add a new menu and put it in between one of those. So for example, I might add a customers menu here, and if I change it to menu item sequence 15 and I save this, boom, it shows up right here between home and maintenance. Then, as you can see, when I click on this, we get no submenus, right, because I haven't put any in. So if I come back to the menu items here, I can choose submenus, and I can add some additional items. I could add an info maybe, and maybe I'm going to create a folder called customers, and I'm going to create a menu item called form customers maint.aspx. And again, I would sequence these. And maybe I create one more here, and we'll call it reports maybe. So again, under that customers folder, I might create FRM customer reports.aspx. Make that one 20, and we save changes. Now when I click on the customers up here, we get the info. And as you can see, what we tell you, an error occurred. Okay. The reason why was there's no page there. Okay, that was an unexpected error. So that way you know that you've got something to fix up. Kind of nice. Okay, instead of just getting a 404 error, right? This gives you a little bit of an exception so that you can figure out, what went wrong. And then here's some information about that exception. Okay, and it'll tell you, hey, the file customers frmcustomers.reports.aspx does not exist. Okay, so kind of neat that we're tracking everything right off the bat, and you're not going to see those typical, bad ASP.NET pages, right? You're going to get a nice exception system here. So this is how we start an application. This is our application builder that builds this whole utility project here. Okay, it gives you a solution with many projects inside of it that you can start from. You can even change the template. You can go in underneath the PDSA Framework 410. You'll find the template sites. There's the template site for C# and there's the one for VB. If you go down in here, you can actually open this project. You can add items, you can add icons, you can add pages, you can add whatever you want, you can change around, you can add your logo automatically so that the next time you run the app builder and it pulls from this template site, it would now have your look and feel, and your new pages, and anything else that you added to that project would be available in any application you built. So that is an application builder. That's one of our utilities. That's how we start an application using the PDSA.NET Productivity Framework. Check out some of the other videos for how we can add additional items using our framework.